I've been single for a while. We finna just get a game. Hey y'all, I'm Nesha and welcome back to Right Where You Are, the space where faith meets real life. And I remind you that your right now is enough. No fake perfect, no skipping the messy parts, just God, growth, and a little bit of laughter along the way. Make sure that you follow us on all of our social media platforms, Spotify, TikTok, and YouTube at Right Where You Are. So yeah, we are back. We're back and rolling. Your girl is back. I'm just excited to talk about the topic today. As y'all can see, finna get into it. Finna get into some things. I want to talk about something that has been on my mind very heavy, especially in this season of my life where a lot of people, a lot of things can't go with me to this next level. And I'm just, you know, evaluating my life, evaluating how I feel when I'm interacting with certain people or certain things. What's bringing me down? What's making me feel like I'm out of touch with God? If I'm talking to you and you make me feel like I'm farther from God than I am by myself, baby, you got to go. So I wanted to get into some things. I want to give y'all some examples in the Bible where God has separated or consequences of not separating or cutting off the things that no longer serve you. In other words, called pruning. That's where the word pruning comes from. You may have heard me say that a lot on this podcast where I say, God is pruning me. I'm in this pruning season. And basically, pruning is what planters do to the plants where they cut off leaves or things that are hurting the plant, that are dying or causing the plant to die. They cut off, the stems, leaves, the things that are not growing or will not help the plant to grow overall. So, like they say, one bad apple can spoil the whole bunch. That is basically what the pruning season is: getting rid of what is not of God, what is a distraction, things like that. So, and then this season of me like crossing fully over into my yes with God, it's just some things I had to let go, and some people that I'm trying to distance myself from, not in a bad way, but it's just like we're not on the same level. And not to say I'm bigger or better than anybody, but it's just like if all you do is gossip, if all you want to do is drink, if all you want to do, if what you're not living a productive lifestyle, I can't be attached to you anymore. That's just what it is, and I feel like we all, if you want to go to the next level, there are some things, and that should be an indicator for you to know that God is leading you to more. When you get into it with people that you never thought you would, where distance start coming between you and somebody, or things that you may used to do on a regular basis, lose the you start to lose the comfort of doing it. So maybe drinking, smoking, whatever. Even watching certain shows, like me, yeah, I used to be a baddies enthusiast, baby. I'm watching baddies. After I'm watching baddies, I'm on TikTok trying to see what everybody else thinking about the episode. And I have come to a place in my life now where I don't even really I don't watch baddies at all. I actually got rid of my Zeus account because the way it was making me feel. Nah, not gonna lie. If I see a good little squab on it, I may watch, but still, it's just like, what's the purpose? What is the purpose? And I don't like seeing that anymore. It's just a bunch of drama for no reason. And not to down anybody, but that's just not my cup of tea anymore. And I see that that is something that I just don't care to watch. Even some music that I've been listening to, but I have been increasing more gospel. Like if you look at my playlist now, I was never the type. I only had like maybe two gospel albums on my phone for like the past few years, and those were Kanye West choir, the Sunday service choir. That was it. I love their music. But now, baby, you go in here, you're gonna see all types of Kirk Franklin, Fred Hammond, everybody, the Clark sisters. You're gonna see some folks in here now. And my brothers, that's one thing that they were always good at. They have always been in the gospel tip, music tip of it. Me, nah. Mostly what you're gonna get of me is like in your feelings type of music, R&B, hip hop. That's it. But a lot of the hip hop that I was listening to, I have like lost. I just don't care to listen to it. Sometimes I be in the mood, but most of the time, that's not really what I listen to. I try to keep, and I see now. And I just when I first started deepening my relationship with God a few months ago, I said I see why people continually listen to gospel on a day to day basis, because to keep them in alignment. You don't want to listen to something that can stir your mind up, because I do believe you are what you listen to, you are what you watch. And if you really pay attention to your habits day to day, you can really see the things that you watch come out of you, and you'll be like, "Ooh, girl, like let me stop. Like me, I used to watch Bad Girls Club when I was younger. Don't know why, but I was just watching it, and I used to be in a fight mood. Like I be wanting to fight my brothers. I don't know, but that's why you have to clear house. You really have to evaluate. Some things may not be bad, but they may not be the best thing for you, or maybe something that God is calling you to let go of. Like for me, I'm gonna be very transparent. I feel like God is telling me to like. I'm not gonna give y'all the whole spiel. I feel like God is telling me to change the way I'm eating, like very drastically, in a way that like it's shocking me. But I'm just like God, like nah, you know your girlfriend is sip. You know my folks can cook. So like what are you really telling me to do? But it's just something I'm still praying about and still, fasting and really trying to get an understanding of what he wants out of me because a lot of times that I heard my internet pastor say, why do we attach tangible things to blessings? Sometimes when you go through seasons of your life, it's not about what you attained in the end, but it's about the person that God created in the end for you to step into that promised land. And that's what I'm like, that's why y'all hear me say I don't like to say that this season is bad because I see the growth that I have within the past 4 months. I see the growth. Like I see how much mature I've gotten. I see how self aware I have gotten to the point where I'm like, I'm catching myself. I'm doing the work internally to get me to the woman that I picture in my head, the picture that I feel like God wants, the woman that God sees me as. I always pray, like God, show me me. Show me the way that you look at me. Show that to me. Let me be that woman. And that's why I really love TikTok because I feel like I could be myself on there to the point where I want to make people smile. Like if people are having a bad day, I want them to say, "Let me go to Nesha page. Let's see what she's talking about and get a good kiki." I want to give y'all a good kiki, but learning how my language, I was talking about me and my vocabulary, I'm trying to stop that as well, and that is something that has been a task for me. But I'm working on it, and God does not, God does not care about perfection. He cares about progression. How are you overall? If you went from cussing every other cuss word to now today, you may get a little cuss word or two out of it. There's still progression. And God does not ask us to come to him perfectly. I say this all the time. You can come to God in your mess. And the longer that you are spending time with God, the more that your lifestyle should change. The more you should want God in your daily. The more that you think before you react, the more that you should pray before you react. Because some of us, and me included, sometimes y'all, some of that stuff be out the window. Not even gonna lie to you, but I'm really getting to that point where I'm like, God, give me the strength, give me the wisdom to figure this out. Or not even figure it out. Just give me your strength. Just go in here with me. Even if you gotta say that before a tough conversation or whatever, give it to God. Like literally give it to God. And I one thing that I always wondered when people say give it to God, I'm like, but what does that really mean? What does that really mean when we say give it to God? And it just means inviting God into your situation. So how you would call up your girlfriend to tell her about your boyfriend acting up or your husband acting up or whatever. Talk to God about it. Ask God to give you the strength to handle that situation in the most godly way possible. That's what you have to do. And even now in my parenting, like I'm not gonna lie, my patience was very thin. And I still have moments in time where I'll get, angry with my son. I'm like, this is a 4-year old. This is gonna happen. And sometimes my parents be like, especially my daddy, he's a boy. It's gonna happen. Be calm. And I'm like, okay, yeah, you're right, you're right, you're right, you're right. And I have to calm myself down. But, just taking a step back and really evaluating on areas that you need to learn about. And even if you ask God, God, show me the areas that I need help with, God is gonna show you. You're gonna be in the middle of somebody really pissing you off, and right before you say something or after you done said it, you've been like, oh, okay, so this is the area I need to work in. I've done that, and parenting was one of them where like my baby will do something and I'll be up here and I'm like, hold up, this is an area God gave me patience with. Give me patience to, raise my son up in a godly way. Let him help me to be a loving mom. Even though I'm loving anyways, my baby's very spoiled, but to the point where, in those frustrating, overstimulated moments, give me the patience, give me the strength so that I can love him. And if I have to discipline him in the way that is of you. You can still get your point across. I don't whoop my son for everything. Like, I feel like back in the day, my mom and dad didn't play that. But I don't whoop him for everything, but I'm also not a timeout mama either, if you know what I'm talking about. But just really evaluating my life in the different areas of my life that I need God in, and being honest about it. God, they always say God knows my heart, but I still believe that you should be able to talk out loud to God or write it down about God. I'm upset. God, I don't know. God, I'm scared. God, I'm worried. Being honest, God will meet you right there. He will meet you, and that's what He loves. He can do a lot more with honesty because He already knows. He just waiting for you to admit it. And sometimes that's the breakthrough, you admitting and you realizing what's wrong or what areas or what people need to be out of your life and asking God. I always tell y'all, say that Rico charge prayer. They out of here. God, remove anybody, anything in my life that's not sent from you, not of you, not from you. Veto. And watch them. And it sometimes it'll be that next hour, sometimes it'll be a week or so later. But you best believe God is gonna make a way every single time. It's crazy, but He come through. And I feel like if you want more of God, you have to invite Him into your situation because He is a God of free will. So He gonna, if you think you got it, God gonna take His hands off for the lift. She said it's what she want. This the man she said she want. This the girl he said he want. And He gonna let them wreck you until you invite Him into your situation. Even the jobs, you praying for jobs. And I've said this like in my last episode, I used to pray to God for a specific job, not even wondering, God, like, is this what you want me to do? And now I'm just like, girl, I'm no. And just this mature, spiritual maturity and being mature all the way around. Like you have to do that, those types of things, inviting God in your situation and watch him turn it around. Watch him, and you can always ask God to change your heart, soften your heart, change your mind, change the way you think, rewire you, reinvent you from the inside out. God is gonna do it. You just gotta ask. Gotta ask. People always say, God know my heart. He do. But He's waiting for you to be honest as well about your situation. I want to get into some examples in the Bible that basically talked about, the company that you keep. So, in entertaining things that are not of God, the first one Gideon's army. This is in Judges chapter 7. So Gideon's army started with 32,000 soldiers, right? God said, that's too many. Fear eliminated thousands. And then the second time, the mindset and discipline eliminated more. So Gideon went into battle from 32,000 soldiers to 300 and still won. So the lesson here is that God will shrink your circle so you don't confuse support with assignment. Everyone around you is not built for spiritual warfare. Y'all, I always say this. If you're in a relationship, you have friendships, you have family relationships, and if some people don't go to bed for you and pray, you don't need them. You don't need them in your life. I'm not going to say you don't need them in your life, but I can say you can love them from a distance. You don't have to be hateful or spiteful towards them, but moving them farther back in the line of having access to you, because especially within this walk, if you're gonna give God your yes, you need people also that if you call them, hey, can you pray for me, on the spot, they praying, they warring with you, for you. I like my little brother, and I text him in a minute, say a prayer for me, say a prayer for me, tell him in a minute, because I know you need somebody on your team that's gonna get some prayers up for you. And I'm not just talking about them cute little prayers. I'm talking binding demons in the name of Jesus. I'm talking about all of that. But as you can see, everybody can't go with you, period. They can't. They cannot. Some people just have to watch from a distance and just be one of the people. I knew her when she was making videos in her house. So the next example of God rearranging a circle is Jesus. Jesus and his circle. So, Jesus had thousands of people following him. He had his own disciples, but for certain moments, he only brought Peter, James, and John. And that just shows you sometimes people can be in your life, but like I said, reevaluating how much access they have to you and not letting them enter into that place where it can take you off track of your alignment with God. But some people, you just got to say, hey, I love you, but I can't kick it with you like that no more. But if you need me to pray for you, call me up. I'm here for you. Everybody ain't meant to know you or to be with you spiritually. Not saying that that person won't ever get on your level. This is something me and one of my close family members was talking about. Like, there have been people that they met years ago and they just went their own way. And they went off the path of God, and now that they're back, those same friends that they met years ago, they're back into alignment with them. So you just never know. All that you can do is pray for those people and pray that they find their way to God as well, because God is the way. So now we gave two examples of how you can rearrange your circle. I wanted to talk about consequences of not reevaluating your life and reevaluating the people in your life that can be a consequence to you and be the reason for your downfall. So Samson and Delilah, we know about this. So this is basically an example of death by wrong attachment, and this is in Judges chapter 16. So Samson was anointed. Of course, he was gifted and strong, and we know that his hair played a big part in it. And God told him, don't cut your hair. Can't cut your hair off, and you can't touch anything that's dead. So Delilah was sent to distract Samson. She repeatedly betrayed his trust. And it said that, Samson knew that she wasn't to be trusted. He knew that she wasn't safe, but he still stayed anyway. So because of that, he eventually revealed his weakness to her, which caused him to lose his strength, lose his freedom, lose his eyesight. And he died because he stayed connected to what God never assigned. So, and the lesson here that I took is that Samson didn't lose his power in one moment. He lost it slowly by staying attached to the wrong person. Some relationships don't attack you directly, they drain you quietly. Now, speaking from my own experience, I talked about this relationship before. This person that I was in a relationship with this year, and God, like I knew this boy was not from God. I knew, but I was like, we finna just have a ball, forget it. I've been single for a while. We finna just get back in the game, y'all. I knew it was not from God, and God was sending me so many different warnings. Prayed the prayer because I was like, God, I can't let him go. You have to take him from me. God took him from me. That's when I went on my, getting close with God. Well, I was getting close with God before then, and that's how I knew that really wasn't for me. It was crazy. So then, I started come back in my life, and I would kind of entertain it. And at one point, I was watching a sermon by Mike Todd, and it was titled "Distractions" or "Death to Distractions." One of those sermons, and he looked at the camera and he said, "This is a prophetic warning. Like, you were dancing around with distractions that are gonna kill you." That's all I needed to see, Jesus. Thank you. And this was been months ago, months ago. And I really haven't been in touch with that person since, because it's just like one person, one decision, one being at the wrong place at the wrong time can end it all. And that's why we have to stay in alignment with God, y'all. God knows best. God knows what's best for you better than you ever could. Like we say, we have these desires in our heart, but once we really give it to God, God will multiply that times infinity, and he will blow your mind. And I'm just ready to have my mind blown. But if you're in a season where you feel like God is rearranging your circle, changing your interests, let God do his work and just keep praying, keep believing, because it's not punishment. God is really protecting you. So just let God do his work in you. Continue to pray, be prayed up. And if you're looking for a friend group, pray and ask God for a God-centered friend group that you can do ... with, or talk about ... and it'll come to pass. And just praying to God to help you soften your heart, so that when it does come, you'll know, and that you can be open to it and feed into that friendship. Because that's one of my prayers. But trust God. Again, let God cook it up in the lab, because he can't explain everything to you at one point, because you'll get scared. So just know that God has the keys. Give God the keys to the car. Let him steer your life. You can't go wrong. But that's all I got for today. I hope y'all enjoyed this episode. I will see y'all next week, 1 o'clock on Friday.